You are down with.
Yo, Dave.
What up?
Drop the beat.
We like it old school. You know how we do this.
What you listening to?
The brothers from the 818.
91331.
Pacoima, California.
What's up, Dave?
What's up, Caleb?
The real, the raw, the relevant.
No script.
We invite you into our conversation. What's going on, people?
Let me just say this.
Thank you for joining us tonight.
You are down with.
The brothers from the 818. What's going on, people? You are back with the brothers from the 818 for another, I don't even know what I'm going to call this one, man. We just going to call this one an episode and see where it goes. You know what I'm saying? My name is Dave, as you know, kicking it with my man, Caleb. Caleb, what you got to say?
David, two times, man.
Two
you
times.
know. It's good to be back with you, man. Even though we have a very troubled world that we live in, at least a country that we live in, and the world is not much better either. Tell me something good, Dave.
Man, I have a blessed life. I truly do. And even when I want to complain, I look at things around me and I say, you know, it's really not that bad. You know, any type of complaint or distress or whatever can be termed relative. And I really try to look at it like that. I look at the fact that, you know, I'm healthy, my bills are paid, I got a job, I got friends, I have people I can reach out to. You know, I'm a rich man. And I don't mean in finances. I'm just saying all of those things I named make me a rich man. I look at, you know, the plans I'm making for the next 10 years of my life as compared to somebody like Brother Eddie we talked to last week, who just wants a nice pair of pajamas, you know, things like that. I got some news on that too. And life is really good. So, you know, what's something good, man? I'm thriving. Not even surviving, man. I'm thriving. I'm doing well. And so, but yeah, we live in a jacked up world, and it's hard to smile about it. It's hard to tongue in cheek about it. It's hard to raise young men in it and answer honest questions while keeping them moving forward in a positive direction. So I'm just pissed. How's that?
Hey, I hear your frustrations, and I'm mad as well. I just don't think it's showing today and on my face, right? This week, it's been a tough week with the George Floyd. I guess let's do our check-in with the George Floyd trial. Also, new conversations about defunding the police reform, police shootings. We know that there was some stuff going on the East Coast this week in the past 7 days. I'm sure we'll get into that. And here we are again, man. Here we are again. Last year, right about this time, we launched the Brothers from the 818 podcast, right?
Episode 49 tonight, man.
There it is, episode 49. Yeah, man. Celebrating that.
Yeah.
And we'll have more on our 50th show as well, man. So, you know, that'll be my check-in for now. Tell me if you would like to check in.
The big thing that's going on, and I haven't shared this with you, you know, some people fast or have rituals for like Lent, and they'll fast. Some people fast food, some people fast meat. You know, I know people who give up media, sex, you know, whatever. You give the whole point of fasting.
Let's not get crazy. Let's not get crazy, man.
Oh, I'm saying it's happened. I've seen it all, right? They're like, I was going to do it anyway. Now I'm not, right? But it's usually that first week of April, first 2 weeks of April for me. For the last few years, I go on a fast, and it's a full fast. No meals at all. Strictly water, coffee. No juices, nothing with sugar. I'll drink a tea every here and there, but water, coffee, and tea for about 2 weeks. It started off as a month, and then 3 weeks later, I ended up in a hospital. That was like 6 years ago. So I don't do that anymore. I try to cap it off, but I'm in the middle of that fast, and so it feels good. It really it's a spiritual fast. It's a health fast. It's a detoxifier, and honestly, I'm glad that I'm not glad for anything that's going on in the world, but I'm glad that while that's going on, I'm fasting because it's just making me more spiritually connected and allowing me to really focus on, the words of wisdom that God is sharing with me versus going off at the fact that racial injustice is still being looked at like a symptom, and we're trying to put band-aids in different places and say, see what we've done, right? The example I put out there is like it's like trying to cure cancer, right? We had our man Eddie on. It's like trying to cure cancer by saying, "Oh, you got a boil? Well, let's give you a band-aid." So now you don't have the boil anymore. The boil will go away. Oh, you got body aches? Let's rub it with some Bengay. So now that's not a problem anymore. You having trouble breathing? Let's put you on a ventilator. So now you don't have that problem anymore. So see, you don't even have cancer.
Hey man, you said a lot there, man. You said a lot. I really appreciate you sharing with our guests about your spiritual fast. Um, as you know, I'm Orthodox Christian, and we do a spiritual fast every year, and we haven't even celebrated our Easter yet. Our Easter is yet to come, but I don't think enough people take the time to establish the priority of their relationship with their higher power, their spiritual, to connect with their spiritual beliefs, whatever it might be, right? And so I'm glad that you did that. But I want to talk about fasting a little bit. When I fast, it's a vegan fast. And I was joking with some neighbors, and then I made the mistake to share with my wife. I said, I hate vegan food so much, right? I'd rather not eat, right? I just rather not eat at all. Until I looked at the scale this morning. I'm the lightest that I have ever been. Well, I'm the lightest I've been in the last 10 years. And then probably another 10 years before that. And there's something to be said about being mindful of what you put in your mouth, right? Because I'm lighter, I'm healthier, I'm certain of it, right? But after this fasting period, I'll go back to eating meat the way that I usually do, maybe wean myself into it a little bit, right? And slowly start. I'll get to my chicken wings. I'll get to my chicken wings in no time, right? But I want to just say there's something about what you put into your body, and enough people don't focus on don't give that enough focus when they are when they're driving past the fast food restaurant or whatever else. So I want to mention that. And another thing I want to mention is you said that people are getting vaccinated, man, and there's a lot of stuff going on that came out today or yesterday regarding the vaccine. So hopefully we could talk about that a little bit too.
I got one more thing just to continue a moment of levity.
Okay.
I told you about Black Uno.
Yeah, man. Oh, tell me more. What did you find out
So
something?
I did some research, right?
Okay.
And hopefully you can see those, right? I'll put them on the podcast either way.
Yeah.
I did some research, and it's a separate entity from Uno altogether. So no copyright infringement. Again, I'm not claiming to know how they got away with that, but they did. So it's something made by Black folks. It's a
They're
FUBU.
getting sued, man.
By
Come
us, for us, by us, whatever it is. It's it's an internal thing. I played, right? Played a three-way game and lost all three, right? Ilana won all three, right?
on.
Or no, two. Sorry, we played a three-way game with three people, and we played 2 rounds. Lost both. Ilana won them both. I don't know about you, but unless we're playing teams or head up, to me that's true Uno, right? Playing Uno with, three separate people, five separate people, or just individuals around, that's not really my flow with it. I'd rather go head up, just me and you, eye to eye, boom, boom, boom. Whatever I throw you, you being punished with. Or teams where, it's like a good spades game, man. When's the last time we played spades together?
It's
You
been
and
a
me.
while, but
It's been a while.
it's been a while.
Right. But I'll confidently and put some money on the table, sit down with anybody knowing you're my partner, right? Well, I mean, we just ebb and flow like that. And we didn't,
Right.
it's about knowing how your partner plays and having confidence that your partner can play the game. So, anyway, this game is kind of deep, man. But here's what I wanted to add. So,
I
you've been
don't. Oh,
playing,
could you explain it? Could you explain a little bit? Is it? It's not like it's Uno like, but could you go into detail because I'm still not sure
nah,
how
it's
you
Uno.
play like Uno.
It's Uno. It's numbers. It's red, green, black, and purple are the four colors. There's
Okay.
draw two cards. There's wild cards that are called switch. There's draw four cards that are called use black power, right? And you can either draw four, draw eight, or draw 10, right? And there's an app that goes with it. If you don't want to draw, you can answer some trivia, right? And some of the trivia is like, what floor was Brahman on in the series Martin,
Okay.
right? So if you understand pop culture, you can get that. Another one would say, name the man who started Black History Month,
I don't know
right?
that.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
So Carter Woodson, right?
Okay.
So, and I know that because I just played the game. But the
Right.
point is, some of it is pop culture, some of it is actual Black history, some of it is just stuff you should know if you're carrying your Black card, but it's all Black culture. So it can be quite educational. But the point I'm making, so I lay a draw four on you. You're like, nah, man, give me some trivia, right? And so if you answer the trivia right, now I got to draw the four.
Oh wow.
If you answer it wrong, you got to draw the four. I don't like that rule, right? And I feel comfortable saying that because I don't know anybody who follows the card carrying rules, at least in Black households, with Uno, right?
Right.
When you go to somebody's house, you got to say, okay, well, how we doing this? What it
Right.
is,
What's the
because it can
rules?
start
Right.
some fights,
Right.
right? So I came up with my own set of rules, and not my own set, but I was just looking around, and they got some crazy rules. So you've heard of stacking, right? You ever heard of that? Stacking,
Yeah.
then okay.
Yeah.
So stacking, where you can, I throw you a draw two, and you don't like it, so you throw a draw two on top of it. The next person got to draw four, right?
Right.
You can also stack numbers. So if I got three sixes, I can stack a six, and a six, no matter
Why
the color, all
why
in
you
one
choose
turn.
six? Yeah. Why you choose six, six, six?
Oh, who? You're right. 777. Let's go with that.
Six. All right.
You can do sequential. If I got a two, a three, and a four, at least three numbers of the same color, right,
Mhm.
in sequence, I can drop them all. I can do a draw four, and you like, take this draw eight, and somebody else like, take this draw 10, and now they drawing 22, right? But
Wow.
here's the rule I want to change. So I hit you with a draw four. You like, nah, man, give me the trivia, right? Let's say you get it right. All right, you win. I'll draw the four, right? I'll pick the color. You get to play. If you get it wrong, you got to draw eight.
Yeah. You shouldn't have to just draw. Okay, I got it wrong. I'll draw the four.
Yeah, it should
Right.
be a penalty. You could have just drawn the
Right. You
four,
could have
drew
do
the
the four
four
before. Right.
from the
Already.
gate.
Yeah.
So I'm like, if you get it wrong, there needs to be a penalty that
Right.
says you had an option to do this the right way, you chose not to. So now here's your hit, which will slow people down on choosing to draw that.
Right. Right.
You got to
Right.
draw 10. 10 is horrible, but 20 is whoo. I'll go ahead and take the 10, right? Or take your chances and see what happens, right? The
Hey,
last card in the deck is called Switch Hands, right?
tell me about switch. What is switch hands? Oh, you just actually give the whole hand. You are handing your whoever you're playing with your whole deck, so you know what they have now because you're handing it over to them.
Well, they got one card they hand because you wouldn't play it until they called Uno,
Oh, okay.
right? And then you play it, you take their one card.
I
Now
don't
it's
know if
their
I like
turn.
that either.
You
I
said
don't know
what?
if I like that either.
You know, there's a deck. It's not one of the ones I have in front of me. I do have the deck, but it has four blank cards, and you can write whatever penalty you want on it. And
Yeah,
that was a big
I've
one
seen
that people
those.
were doing is a switch hands, right? So
Yeah.
whatever you got, give me yours.
The reason why I'm not a fan of the switch hands is because, you know, bro, like you and me, man, we working hard to get to that Uno, right? And someone is just stacking up 5 cards, 15 cards, 20 cards in their hand, but they have that switch hands card, right? Not because of any skill,
Right.
but just because they keep their hand, because I'm keeping their hand in the deck. And then I'm working hard. I call Uno and they play the switch hands, man. I'm not a big fan of that rule.
You might need a drink in your hand on that one just to stay cool. See, um, honestly, as much as I like the different fashions of Unos that the Uno games that they do, my favorite one is the OG.
Yeah.
Nothing special. You just get in there and you got a draw two, a draw four, a reverse, a skip, and you play your best game, and however it turns out, it turns out.
I would love to get the bras, and I'm gonna make an assumption. It might be a sister as well. The owners of the creators of Black Uno on the Brothers from 818. Let's talk about it.
I'll
Let's
reach out
figure
to
out-
them. You
Yeah,
know
let's
that.
figure
I got
out.
no problem with that. What's the name of the company?
Right.
Yeah, I'll find them.
Yeah,
They don't
because
say no.
my guess is if they make enough money, Mattel's going to come for them. Right.
Yeah, but we
That's
don't
my
know what
guess.
decisions have been made beforehand because I
Right.
can't imagine that Mattel didn't already come for them. So before we got started, I told you, it's just a heavy day, man. And I started this show with I'm pissed, and that hasn't changed. I am, but I'm glad we can, it speaks to our relationship, who we are, the type of people have been on. They've watched this show for 49 episodes now, so they see how we can go around and round and up and down and back and forth on any
Right.
topic. So I feel a little better internal. I still think the world sucks, but I feel better. Just I can sit here and I can laugh and throw a smile, and it's genuine right now. So I appreciate that conversation, brother.
Absolutely, man. And that's what good friends should be doing for each other. Creating a little bit of distraction, a little bit of humor, but also being able to really circle back and say, so let's talk about what you pissed about, Dave. What's pissing you off?
One of our cornerstones, if not foundation, of the Brother from the 818 is that we keep it real, we keep it raw, we keep it relevant. But we're not shying away from anything. If there's something that's going on, someone can tune in to the Brothers from the 818 and catch our opinion on it, right? And I'll just say it like this. I'll start it off, you can chime in, and we'll see how far it goes. I think this country is still in a sad state of existence, and just another aspect of showing how bad it is. Right now, in the state of Minnesota, I would think that cops, police officers, those in authority would do their absolute best to be on their best behavior, because there's a worldwide trial going on right now, right in their city, based upon the actions of one of their officers. And so, after all the Rodney King stuff, LA police for a couple minutes, whatever, were on somewhat better behavior because of the scrutiny hitting the department. And they were like, we don't need this extra attention. I would think that if any police agency in the world, and I'm using the state obviously, but the police agencies that are in Minnesota would be on their absolute best behavior right now. The other side is that I would think that people in Minnesota and people who look like us, black and brown people, would realize that, cops aren't caring about getting filmed because the stuff they're getting caught on is coming off of their film. Right? This isn't oftentimes now cell phone footage. We're seeing released body cam footage. And at a location, I kept getting confused. It was called Brooklyn Center, right? I hear Brooklyn, I think New York. But
Right.
Brooklyn Center some 10 miles or so from where the trial for ex-police officer Derek Chauvin is going on for murdering George Floyd a little over a year ago is happening right now. Another police officer, a female police officer this time, shoots Dante, right? He's in his car. Whether he's armed or not, I don't know, but they don't see a gun, right? So no, it's not because he pulled a weapon on them.
No
While
gun.
yelling taser, 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 she shoots him fatally. So she murdered him, right? And as you know, and as he gets shot, he tries to drive away. Like, this is crazy. And she's like, "Oh my God, I just shot him." Actually, I don't even think she says, "Oh my God." I think she just says, "I just shot him." Right? And then she quits, saying this is best for the department and the community. Right? And then the police chief quits, right? Because of whatever was said or whatever. And I'm just like, really? How does this go on? And why is this okay? Now, no one is saying it's okay, right? No one's going to go out to that level. But I jump online today and I see a headline that says, "How easy is it to mistake a taser for a gun?" Really? That's our response? Let's talk about the tough job that police have. Really? That's our response? This man's dead.
By the way, you're not seeing the same reaction from police when they're pulling over, and I'll just go ahead and say it, Caucasian, Asian, even Hispanics. The police aren't reacting the same way. I don't want to interrupt you, man.
No, go ahead.
Sure.
We gonna go back and forth. Go ahead.
All right,
I'm paused.
It is racism and the issues in this country and the police, the need for police reform hasn't, those things are still there, although President Trump is no longer in office, right? And you mentioned a couple things. I'll call it a rant, right? You mentioned a couple things. You mentioned body cams. I'm not sure how, like, body cams. I'm speaking out of ignorance now, right? I don't know if body cams have made a big difference in the way policing is going on in America, right? And I would like to look at the statistics, but police officers been wearing body cams for the last 5 years. A lot of people died in the last 5 years at the hands of police officers. And like you said, this one was recently, what's his name? Dante, right? He died, and the footage was police footage and showing her pulling her gun and screaming, "Taser, taser, taser," right? Her quitting, was it the right thing to do? All right. Should she be sentenced or charged with something? Not sentenced, but charged with something? Absolutely. I believe there needs to be a trial for that, because that young man did make it home to his mother that was crying on television and saying that he called me and he was scared, right? And there was another officer, and it's the military officer that was in Virginia, a second lieutenant. That hits me. It hits close to home for me, because I did my advanced training, my officer training, and at Fort Lee, Virginia, drove up and down that highway between Virginia and DC all the time, right? And this man thought it was a normal traffic violation. Decided, hey, I was and stated I was concerned because, and that's the reason why I didn't stop. And I wanted to make sure I was at a location that was well lit. We'll talk about George Floyd trial. That's all I got for now, Dave. Because, well, I'll say it. I was out with some of my friends last week, and we were talking about what happens if George Floyd or Derek Chauvin um, is not charged or not sentenced, if there's acquittal. And I said, man, I'm going to be out there. And I don't know the last time I was out there. It's been Rodney King. There's been a lot that's happened in this country since Rodney King, right? I'm going to be out there. I'm not going to necessarily be out there looting, right? But I'm going to be out there in a way that I haven't been, and I'm going to be more vocal than I ever have regarding police reform and our judicial system. All right, I'll stop there for now.
We don't want to live in a country where that type of justice goes untouched, especially in light that the civil suit, and we know civil and criminal are always different, but the civil suit, because of that, is the largest ever on recorded history. For him to not be sentenced is America throwing up the middle finger to anybody that's non-white, right?
Is it America, or is it the jury? Is it the judicial system? What is it?
I'm gonna call it America, because we shouldn't even live in a country where that's possible.
Right.
Everybody gets a free trial. I mean, not a free trial. Everyone gets a fair trial. I'm down with that.
Yeah.
But, blind men saw that video, right? The prosecution just started. I mean, the defense just started theirs, but they started with an expert witness that said, Derek Chauvin was appropriate in pinning him to the ground in what he did. This came off of a number of officers crossing the thin blue line to state that no, he violated protocol when he did X, Y, and Z. I have no idea what the defense is coming up with, but I don't want to live in a country where he gets off because some jury decided, well, maybe he didn't mean it, maybe it didn't happen. Right? I just don't. So we'll pause that one for a second. I don't know if you mentioned it. I didn't hear it, so hopefully I'm not repeating you. But Officer, is it Navarro?
Yeah.
And when I say I'm talking military officers, so First Lieutenant Navarro,
Right. Second lieutenant, yeah.
was in uniform.
Right.
Right. He even stated, he's like, I've defended my country overseas, and this, while his hands are out the window, this is how you're treating me? Really? The one of the cops, I don't know if it was the one that shot him, said, "You about to ride the lightning, son."
He sprayed him. He didn't shoot. I guess he shot him with pepper spray.
Yeah.
Right?
I'm sorry, not the one that shot him. He didn't get shot. But you about to ride the lightning, son. He says, "I'm afraid to get out the car because of what might happen." The cop said, "You should be."
Right.
Now, I don't know about you, but the way my mama raised me, if she's like, "You should be afraid to do this," was her way of saying, don't do it.
Mm-hmm.
Right? When I tell my kids, look, Dad, I'm afraid to jump off the roof. You should be. That doesn't mean get out, jump off the roof and see what happens. Right? So cops, testosterone flowing, trying to do this, trying to do that, hands still out the window, and they pepper sprayed him.
Right. He's saying, don't do that. Don't do that. Don't do that. Right.
Yeah.
In uniform. Right. He's informing the police officer of the law. He says, I don't have to get out the car for a traffic violation, right? I watched the video a couple times because I was really impressed with his knowledge of the law. And it made me second guess. Traffic violations, do I not have to get out the car?
Right.
I
think the laws are different depending on where you are. So
in different states, right?
Look that up, yeah.
Right. And so he was like, "Don't do that. Don't do that." I also heard that he also gave him a knee strike to his leg. Bananas, man.
Yeah.
For a traffic violation?
Or a traffic violation, yeah. And matter of fact, the traffic violation is they said he didn't have plates on his car. So it's not like, he was speeding. It's not like he was doing any of that. When they pulled him over, he reduced his speed, turned on his hazards, and drove to a place where it was well lit. He clearly stated, that's why I did it. And I don't even want to relive it, man. It's a joke. Go.
He had plates on his car. He had paper plates on his car. And he was asking them, could you please tell me why you're pulling me over?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And so supporters of police forces will say, oh, no, that police officer was right for asking him to get out the car, right? But if Mr. Navarro, Second Lieutenant Navarro, is correct that he doesn't have to get out the car for in that state for a traffic violation. And he's asking, well, can you tell me why you pulled me over? That police officer was dead wrong, right? Because if he would have just said, well, I pulled you over because you don't have plates in the car. No, officer, I have plates. I have a paper plate. You can see the paper printout plate on my back window, right? Would have eliminated all of that testosterone and anger and pepper spray and the knee that he gave him. All right.
So, like I said, I'm pissed, and I want you to know it. I want people to know it. It's crazy, man. What's his name? I don't even know the cop's name. He ain't important, but the one that shot Jacob Blake, he's back on the force today.
Yeah.
Right? Will not face any discipline. Right? And I haven't even been following that one since it happened, so I can't speak on it intelligently. But I'm like, it's a sad state of existence. So here's the final thing I got to say about it. And honestly, I'm done. I don't feel like. Here it is. I'm a person that I think everybody has a right to complain. Right? If you got something wrong with you, you should have a means where you can go and address your complaint. I'm going to speak on how I feel with you. I'm going to speak on how I feel with your guests, with our guests. But in this format, this isn't going to be solved. But I'm tired of treating it like a symptom. I really want to start putting in some action personally to dive at the source and what the problem is. And I haven't figured out that right plan. But like I said, it's good that I'm fasting because I'm praying about that a lot and looking for clarity as far as what my next steps should be. I got into this game to change the world, man. And if that's my new target, then so be it, right? And that doesn't mean I'm doing anything illegal. That doesn't mean I'm doing anything wrong. That doesn't mean I'm gonna do anything that's gonna bring shame to me or my family or the legacy that I'm trying to build. But I can't sit by and do nothing, right? And that's just the bottom line of how I want to look at it. Last thing I'll say, when Trevor Noah came out, I liked him as a comedian. I dig, what's his show? Is it the Late Show with Trevor Noah? I can't think of the name of it.
Yeah.
But once COVID hit, it went to the social distance edition. So he used to be on there in a suit and trimmed and proper, and now he's just kind of in a hoodie. He's let his hair grow out and he's letting it rip. And again, he has some good things to say. I'm just not a real big fan, so I don't watch it. But big ups to him for doing his thing and making his stance. And I'm glad to know that he will speak his mind and say what he say. But today, one of the things he said that just really spoke to me is that police, and I'm not speaking about all police. Yes, we know there's some good police out there, right? But we've seen too many instances where police have not been held properly accountable for what they mistake is a gun for someone else because they feared for their life. We've seen it from someone holding a burrito to someone holding nothing, to someone holding money, a wallet, a phone, anything they reach for, or if the shadow casts across their hand improperly and it doesn't even, they don't have to have anything in it, police officers have been known to open fire, right? And all of a sudden there's somebody dead and they're like, oops, he didn't have anything. But within their own ranks, they can't tell when a gun is actually in their own hand. Right? And I don't know how many it's been, but the two that are standing up on my mind right now are the most recent one that happened with Dante. Is it Dante Wright? Is that his last name?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Dante Wright, where, she's yelling taser, 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 has a gun in her hand, pulls the trigger, right? And then the other one was Oscar Grant. I know that was a while ago, but it was another, pin the man to the ground.
In the last year.
Well, Oscar Grant was 10 years ago. At the BART station, that was that big one.
Oh yeah, what the young man that was that had the parked car at the fast food spot, yeah, and he got shot. Yeah. And there was no weapon in his car, and with his children in the car.
Yes, I do remember that. And he had no weapon. I'm talking about the ones that, and again, we could do the research, but pulled their weapon, and then afterwards saying, oops, I thought it was my taser. Right? It's like, Come on now. I mean, here's the thing, and I know I said this, that was my last thing, but when you are trained in a certain aspect, you have to have a higher level of accountability.
There it is,
You
right
have
there.
to you and your wife have to hold yourselves to a higher level of accountability than that which you would impose on your children. Why? Because you're trained in higher levels than they have access to.
Right.
When you are a surgeon, you're trained to use tools to slice open a body and do things. And if someone dies on the table, you may not get sentenced because you were doing your best to save them. And let's say that was the case. But you are held responsible, and that's why you have malpractice insurance, and that's why families get paid, and this is that and the other. That's how that industry is handled. But when you are in any industry where you're making life and death decisions on behalf of others, you need to be held to a higher sense of accountability, and that's why I have to believe that Derek Chauvin will be convicted. I have to believe that, and if he doesn't, like you, man, I got to get out there. And all the rest of this is going on. I need the message to get out that it's a new day and that the world will no longer tolerate excessive force by police in this country.
Hey, Dave, I got some good news and some bad news, brother. There's going to be more Black lives slain in our streets by our police officers. And I'm tired of our country being so nonchalant, so casual about those lies, man. You mentioned Trevor Noah, and Trevor, that's the Daily Show. That's the Daily. He's part of the Daily Show,
Right.
and he's really become outspoken in the last 2 years of Trump's presidency, and about Black issues in America, right? In regards to the shootings, people shouldn't be getting shot for traffic violations. There should be a level of escalation, right? And for simple traffic violations, if someone wants to drive away, just go look for them. You got their driver's license. You probably because the car is probably registered to them. Follow them, chase them,
Shoot out the tires.
let them go home, right? And let them live,
Yeah.
right? And so those are the type of reforms that I think that we really should be talking about. Police officers should not be shooting or tasering someone for running a red light or doing a California roll through a stop sign or not having a license plate on the back of their vehicle. I'm going to be out there if Derek Chauvin is not sentenced. I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm certainly not going to do what the 21-year-old Caleb would have done, right? What we've done in the past year, episode 49, is we brought our discussion, our conversation, to our fans that have subscribed, and to our guests, and to our audience that that want to listen in and hear just two friends talking about what's going on in the community. But enough is enough, man. Enough is enough.
Yeah.
And I want to go back to what I said about people just tolerating the senseless murders and shootings and deaths of members of our community. And the situation with the second lieutenant, and I hate to continue to go back to him, it could have turned, if when they pulled him out of the car, if he would have become upset because someone wrongfully pulled him over, right? Because he did have a plate in the back of his car, sprayed him in his face, kneed him in his leg, right? And if he would have been upset about those things, which I would have been upset about, which I am upset about, right?
Mhm.
And if he would have just raised his hand and said, he could have been dead too.
Yep. Not could have. Not could have. Would have.
Bananas, man.
Would have. That's it, man. I got nothing else to say on that. I'm gonna put a pin in it because this will come up again. Unfortunately, I'm watching. I want to see what's next, right? You gotta, and I'm no disrespect to our daughters or daughter-like ones, but you got a 2-year-old that you want to see 18, that you want to see 25 and 35 and 45, and him to grow up and be a man in this society. And this is a sad world to try to raise a young man in, right? I got teenage boys. I got a 25-year-old, 24-year-old who's 6'8". I mean, I told him from the beginning, you're a target no matter where you go.
Yeah.
Right? Life is a little different, a lot different. And so, it's sad, man. And that sadness, I'm not walking around sad. I'm walking around pissed.
Right.
Because again, as I said before, somebody told me, well, look at you. You made it. Like, show me the white man you would say that to.
Right.
As long as you can identify the exceptions, then you understand there's a effed up rule that needs to adjust.
Right. And that makes me think about that rule where you say, well, or not you, but someone will say, well, if they would just pull over, if they just put their hands out the car, nothing would happen. If they just follow the instructions of the police officers, nothing would happen. Not necessarily, right? That man that got pepper sprayed, he had his hands out the car the entire time, saying, I'm fearful of getting out the car. I don't know why you pulled me over, right? And he still got sprayed. Thankfully, he didn't get shot.
Thankfully, he didn't get shot, yeah. And you and I have had this conversation. I've even had it on this show. I'm a fan of compliance. I'm like, you can state your objections while being compliant, and it will increase your chances. I still stand on that, right? For First Lieutenant Navarro,
Yeah.
He didn't die, but he got pepper sprayed, right? And that's still an excessive show of violence against a man who didn't deserve any of that. At worst,
Right.
he should have got a ticket.
The other officer said, you should have just listened. Why didn't you? You could have made it so much easier for yourself. What are you talking about, man? I got my hands out the car and I'm asking you, why are you pulling me over?
Yeah.
I'm scared to get out the car, right? Yeah. Right. And could he just got out the car? Sure. He could have just got out the car. Yeah. But he was running down the state, according to Navarro, according to the video, he was running down, I don't have to get out the car. Tell me why you pulled me over.
Right.
I don't see anything wrong with questioning an officer, especially if you understand the state law the way that he supposedly understood the state law.
If you understand your laws, you should be able to, your rights, you should be able to exercise them. And the police, in those instances, should respect it because they know you know the law.
Right.
Right. And that's the bottom line. So honestly, I got nothing else, dude. You can say whatever else you want about it, but I'm done with that.
So we were going to talk about Johnson & Johnson and that. I don't even want to talk about the vaccines today. There's some other stuff that's going on in the world. But I feel like we had a very good episode. And I feel like this episode is kind of back to the roots of the brothers from the 818, right? We are just chopping it up, sharing and giving our opinions, the real, the raw, the relevant, right, on what's going on in our society today. So Dave, what you listening to?
Nothing. Honestly, I can't think of anything that I've trended on or stopped. I know that's my first time doing this. The song that hit me this morning, I probably played it twice just because I hadn't heard it in a long time, was Where I Want to Be by Donnell Jones. I like the intro to that. It's just kind of some flittery. It feels like a hi hat rim for a little bit. Not even hi hat, but like real soft. Then the song comes in. That's the only one that's a memory for me, man, and that's sad for me because I love music. You know that. That's a big reason why we do what you're listening to. What's been tuning you up lately.
Right.
And lately, I just haven't been into it. I've been thinking about, this country and the sadness
Right.
where we're going. So what am I listening to? Listening to the blood of our people running the streets.
Right.
And I don't like it.
I'm listening to my angry friends, my pissed off friends talking about when is this going to change. In regards to music, haven't been listening to a lot of music. I'm not in the car enough, and I'm busy at work and in the house, right? And so I don't really have a lot of music on. But I can tell you that I did watch Roxanne, and
Oh,
yeah, 2017. I'm just catching it. I know I'm
you
kind
late
of
to that party. Tell me about it.
um I really appreciated her life story. There's a lot of it that I didn't know. I didn't realize that she was that young. The music I grew up to. And my wife and I, she was like, I've never heard of UTFO. I never heard of Roxanne Shante, right? And I said, oh yeah. And in fact, while I was watching, I said, oh, I think this is how she got her break, right? Before, she was battle rapping. She was battle rapping everybody that she could get in front of, right? I said, this is probably what got her a break, and sure enough, it was. She was battle rapping, or she responded to UTFO's song. Did you caught it?
Oh yeah, yeah. I caught it when it came out.
What'd you think about it?
Man, I've always liked Roxanne Shante. It's Netflix, right?
Yeah.
Um, she's a true MC,
Mm.
right? And we don't have a lot of them left. Right. Back when we were growing up, you had some MCs out there, people that could just show up and rock the mic and sway a crowd. She was a true MC in an era of MCs. And like her, unfortunately with women and men in the industry got the short end of the stick and
Mm.
trying to prove herself into a male dominated industry as well. Just never really got her just due. But Roxanne Shante was the truth. I'll even go as far as to say she is the truth. She has a show, or she's on somebody else's show. I want to say on Sirius XM. It might even be she's a host on LL's Rock the Bells,
Okay.
channel 43. I don't know. This isn't an XM advertisement. But what I really liked about the show is she throws some love to Nas, man.
Yeah, I
And
saw
I'll
that.
admit, I can. I think I this. It might even happen on this show, or maybe it was some years before. I'm late to the Nas party,
Mm.
right? I've only been into Nas about the last 2 years, but I'm like, that's a true MC too, right?
Right.
And amongst others. I'm not saying there aren't any out there. Jay-Z, I would call him a true MC. Of course, Biggie, Pac, LL. Any of them from that genre. There's a lot of them, and there may be even some out there today. I don't even want to get into it because that's a whole nother debate with a whole nother set of people. But I enjoyed it, man. I thought it was good, and it made me pull out some old Roxanne Shante lyrics, and I think I was vibing with that for a week or so.
Yeah, man. I really appreciated it as well. I thought it was sad because she was so young and she was naive, and she was living in the projects like a lot of people do,
Yeah.
right? And they get taken advantage of. But as far as her MC skills, I was explaining to my wife, I was like, this is before Queen Latifah.
Yeah, yeah,
This
yeah, yeah.
was this was before Salt and Pepper,
Yeah.
right? Um,
Pretty close,
um,
but yeah, it was
right,
before then.
right,
Yeah.
right. And I was saying that you know, um, the way that people battle back in the day, man, she was trying to scrape together money to help feed her sisters and her family. It
Yeah.
was a real sad story, man, but I appreciate it. If our fans haven't seen it, please check that out and let us know what you think.
Well, I'm gonna put you on. I don't know if you caught it because you're not really a TV cat. Did you see the Salt and Pepper biopic?
No, I haven't seen it. No, not at all.
Um, it's okay. I mean, some people would say it's great. It's a Lifetime movie. So if you know anything about Lifetime movies, you got to know what you're getting yourself into. But the reason I brought it up, it not only talks about their story,
Mm,
but it brings in Martin,
okay.
Kid, Play, right? So Salt, Pepper, Martin, Kid, Play all worked at the same uh, telemarketing place, right?
Wow.
When they were like in high school or early college or those early college years. And it just, here's what it makes me think of, quite honestly. And I'm going to bring two worlds together. There's so many artists out there that grew up on the same block, that shared the same streets, that have the same influence that you will never see perform together, so you wouldn't put them in the same realm, right? But one day, maybe 20 years from now, 25 years from now, someone will tell the story of properly of the origins of hip hop, showing the crash that occurs because we were all actually in the same area,
Right.
right? And whether you see us perform together, we were all influenced by one another. We would cross the same streets. We went to the same schools. We went to the same clubs, and we were always, in that mix together. Very similar to how when we read the autobiography of Malcolm X,
Right.
right? And he talked about Red Fox, and he talked
Right.
about um, uh, um, Billie Holiday and
Uh-huh.
Duke Ellington and all of those greats that were just part of the community that he grew up in. The same
Hmm.
way where we saw the movie Ray, and there's Quincy Jones. The same way that Quincy Jones and James Brown were actually very good. I'm sorry, Ray Charles and James Brown were actually good friends,
Right.
but neither one of them appear in each other's movies,
Right.
right? They didn't even show that cross up, right? And so, how this industry is actually a whole lot closer than we give it credit for. And those are honestly the stories that I still want to see. And maybe, I don't know, man. Again, clarity. Maybe it's my job to tell it if
You
nobody
know,
else is.
with Roxanne or Roxanne Shante, Big Daddy Kane, Marley Marl, there was Biz Markie, there was Nas, right? And you just laid out the movie of Ray, you made Malcolm X. There's a parallel process, man, that is outside of the hip hop, music, entertainment industry,
Yeah.
and we are all in the community together. Like um, you and I have a lot of friends that are doing well with their lives, right? We grew up on the same streets, right? We have some friends that are no longer with us, grew up on the same streets, right? Um,
Incarcerated. Same
right.
streets, yeah.
Same streets, right? And so it's a parallel process. A lot of the basketball players, they grew up together in the junior leagues, right?
Right.
They know each other, and they became, went through their their puberty together, right? And got their fame together, and so there's almost like a family. And
Right.
so I really wish that we got back to that level of community, because, like I just said, it's a parallel process from what we saw in these documentaries, these movies, and what we're seeing today.
That's what's up, man. I'm glad you checked that out. A good flick. If you haven't seen it, anybody out there, check out Roxanne. Is it Roxanne Shante or is it just Roxanne?
I think it's Roxanne.
Roxanne on
Yeah,
Netflix. Stick around to the end. The shout out to Nas is worth it.
yeah,
And I don't know if he's ever commented on it. I haven't followed it to that degree. And that's, what was that, 2017 when
yeah.
it came out?
It came out in
Um,
2017.
but yeah, music origins, music, black music, it's a parallel, man. It all intertwines, and so it's beautiful when you can slow down and say, wow, this person was there too, and look at where they went. And even more, I don't know their current financial status, but when you look at five cats that all worked at the same telemarketing company to all go on and become millionaires in their separate careers, that's amazing.
Right.
That's drive, that's opportunity. And if they all were part of the same group, I'd say one thing, but no. Roxanne Shante, Roxanne, Salt and Pepper went and did they thing. Kid and
Right.
Play did their thing. Martin was into comedy and movies. He did his thing. And
Right.
and they all had very successful lives and careers. And so I look at stuff like that and I'd be like, that just
Right.
I'm just
And
proud
so,
to be black, y'all. That's a
right.
fact, y'all.
And you could see those, by the way, Nas, he did credit Roxanne for making him take rap seriously. Rap, remember, it was
Mhm.
called rap back in the day before it got watered down to hip hop, and who knows what they're playing now.
Right.
But parallel process, man. You can hang out with this group, they could pull you down and you be down there with them. Or you can hang out with this group and people are talking about doing some things, right? And people are talking about shaking them and making some moves. And then you see them make a move and say, wow, how did you do that? Could you get me connected with your agent? Who took your headshots? Right. And then all of a sudden, you making your moves as well and able to lift other people up. And so we need to continue to make sure that we're lifting those people up that are around us and that we can influence.
There it is. There it is. None of us made it here by ourselves, and we can't forget about those who are trying to get there once we arrive. Not that I've arrived, you have either. I don't want to put it that way, but you know what I'm saying. So, all right, man. Well, that's what we got tonight. Like I said, thank you for lightening my spirits tonight. Thank you for the engaging conversation. I'm glad we got to speak on the stuff we needed to speak on with the intensity that we needed to say it. And I liked your words, man. You said we've got back tonight. We were able to get back to the roots of why we did this, to just provide social commentary from the perspective of two brothers who's gonna have this conversation anyway. Right, so I'm glad we were able to do that and share that with the rest of y'all. Y'all have been listening to the Brothers from the 818. You know how to find us. You can catch us on YouTube, where you're probably watching us now, and Facebook. Don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe. Still get lots of comments throughout the week about people saying, hey, great podcast. That was amazing. I like how you did that. And I tell them all the same thing. Say it on the podcast. Go back in there and comment, say something. We're also on streaming channels, Apple Music, Google Podcasts, Spotify and iHeartRadio, Amazon and Audible, or wherever you catch your streaming media. And of course, you can catch us on our website, Brothers from the 818. Until next time, Caleb, you know how to get us out of here. What's up?
Hey, thanks for joining us tonight. We appreciate you guys giving us your time. Peace.
Peace.
You are down with
The Brothers from the